Hello YouTube, back once again with my film reviews, and the last movie I saw as of late while I was on vacation was the new horror movie, The Gallows. Ooh. And oh god, let's go talk about this one. This movie, it broke the trend. It was a surprising year for horror movies. All of them had been ranged from decent to great. Then a film just has to come out like this and just ruin it, so... Even though I'm gonna go into a lot of bad, there's a few good things I can say about this movie. Let's start with those. Okay, first let me say what the premise of the movie is. The premise is it's a small town, and in the high school, years ago, like, this was like 20 years ago, there was a school show called, The Gallows, which looked like some shitty version of The Crucible, and in the show, one of the young actors, due to a freak accident with one of the props malfunctioning, actually was hung by the stage prop Gallows, and he was hung, or is it hanged? It's some weird thing for if it's a person, like, to death. And it's years later. Now the school is doing, and is 20, like I said, I think 20 years later. The school's reviving the show and doing another production of it, and then a group of 4 teenagers, they break into the high school to try to screw with the sets, and that's the premise of the movie. Then they start getting haunted by the ghost of the kid who was killed. Let's talk about this movie. First, the good. I gotta say, the location for this movie is actually really good. A high school. You may not think this, a high school at night with, like, no lights on, it's actually pretty creepy and very ominous feeling. You just do always feel like someone's watching you, and it is just kind of creepy, like, how it's made, how it is, like, the design of a high school. Like, so the setting actually did work. It was very creepy. It did, like, honestly look like a small town high school, like, the way it was, like, laid out. So I'll give this movie credit that was kind of funny that it was, like, a secret passageway in this high school. That the whole idea of that made me kind of laugh. But yeah, so the setting was actually really good. It actually made some effective moments in this movie. I'll give the movie that credit. That one of the hugest issues with all found footage horror movie flicks is, does this movie justify why this camera is not being put down? Because, like, let's just talk about some found footage films that did work. Like, you could buy why people were not putting the camera down. This year's Unfriended, they had a really good reason. Simple reason was they were told explicitly, and they were proven this. You turn the camera off, you die. So, made sense why none of them were turning their cameras off. So I gave that movie credit. The first 3 Paranormal Activity movies, like, first one, it's like supernatural stuff is going on, so this guy just leaves the camera on the room because he just got this camera, he likes to play with it, and it just records what goes on. Reasonable enough. Second Paranormal Activity, like, they break in so they get a security system, makes sense. Third movie's pretty much the same reason as the second one, just instead of a security system, just a guy setting cameras around the house. So, yeah, this movie, though, I'll give you credit, it's somewhat justified why the camera was always on, mainly for the fact when they're in the school, it's their only source of light is on the camera, is the cameras they have, so I'll give the movie that credit. But there's still points in this movie you're just wondering, why is this person using the camera? Like, it's not like on the grounds like shit is going down, like put the camera down, like, no, it's like when like nothing's going on, you're just wondering, why is this person holding a camera right now? Like, why are you doing this? Like, there's no point to, so this movie's somewhat justified and not really, though, but I'll give it credit for somewhat justifying it. I will say this movie actually had a pretty clever idea for the whole found footage thing, in which essentially the group has the 4 teenagers. They have two cameras, and there are parts of the movie where they're split up, and it is like a clever thing. Like when like there'll be something like they're like split up from the group, and then they start hearing like horrible sounds coming from like one of the rooms that one of the like some of the rest of the group is in, and then you like first like you see from the group who's outside of that room's perspective, and then just like staring at horror, like wonder like what's going on in there, and then it will show from the group that has the camera in with them inside the room, like what happened from that camera. So that was actually kind of clever idea for the found footage genre. I'll give this movie credit for doing that. And That and I'll give the four actors credit. They all tried. Not masterclass performances, but none of them were god awful with acting. Like, it could have been way worse. I have seen way worse when it comes to acting, like in these kind of movies. Not the characters themselves. I'm just talking about the acting here because the characters are a completely different story. But I will say this: I did somewhat care about like the main nice boy's like ultimate fate, what it was gonna be. I did somewhat care what was gonna happen to him by the end of this movie. And that's all the guy gotta say. Now let's get to the bad, because oh boy, was there a lot of it. Well, here's the biggest one that will hit you right off the bat. That hits the right off the bat in this movie. The kid holding the camera through the majority of the film was the most annoying dick in this film. He was just awful. Like, he constantly makes jokes about a kid who tragically lost his life in a freak accident, like the Charlie kid who died in the performance. Like, you're just like, that's awful. You're an awful human being for doing that. That he is essentially a bully. Like, you just see him like constantly being horrible to like all these people who are just minding their own business, and like he's just like completely oh, what a loser. Like, there's just a point just one of like the workers the stage hands is just like carrying a thing of props, and he just picks up a football and just throws at the kids, and I'm like, you're just a dick. Like, and it's not even like a fun like bastard, like in Unfriended. Like, it was fun seeing you just want to see this character die, but it's like not like the fun way like in Unfriended, because like in Unfriended, like the whole thing was there were not good people, but they did come off initially as the worst people. They came off as reasonably horrible teenagers. Like, but then when you start learning all the horrible things they did, it was so fun to watch them die in some really creative ways. Like the kid's like whose arm like deep like puts like in a blender, and the girl like who sticks like a hairdryer down her throat. Like, those were fun ways to see people get killed off. This kid, and like it was fun because you were just like along with the journey of just like, oh, you're a bastard, please die, and then they did it. That's what made it fun. Like, and this kid was just the worst. Like, and it honestly came off like you were not supposed to hate him that much, because Unfriended you were supposed to hate these characters, and that's what made it funny. Like this kid, though, I have discussed this movie with some people. It honestly felt like it did almost feel like he was supposed to be the comic relief of this movie. If that was what you were going for, career's failure, just a complete failure. You just wanted to see this kid die in the first minute of this movie, and not in a fun way. So that was awful. That the characters in this movie, they're freaking idiots. They do the dumbest thing in any horror movie. What's the one thing you should never do when you're being hunted by something? That is, don't split up. Don't split up. If there is a madman chasing you, it is probably best to stay together, because let me tell you, it's usually easier picking when you're broken up when it's just one at a time. Like, that is one of the jokes Cabin in the Woods made about stupid horror movie cliches. That's one of the best parts of Cabin in the Woods. Just like the scene like when Chris Evans like first like comes in, just like, okay, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bar it up, and we're gonna watch each other's back. We're gonna stay together. We're gonna bar up every window and every door, and we're gonna be okay. And then like the sign just blows some gas in his face. They just like, actually, I think we should split up. We cover more ground that way. It's like, but that was the joke in Cabin in the Woods. In this, it's just these characters being freaking idiots, and I hate that in horror movies when characters just will split up. I hate that. I couldn't help but think this entire movie, like, why the hell don't you break into a classroom, lock yourself in there, just try to ride this out till morning? Because let me tell you, I was really wondering that, because even if the ghost demon thing could pass through walls and stuff like that, my only thought is at least there's no place that you could be hung, because they keep being hung in the auditorium because that's a very high ceiling where you can easily hang someone. You can't really do that classroom, and my only thought was, why not do it there then? It's just stupid. That, and it committed the other huge shit. There is a moment when one of the characters is home free. He has gotten out of the school. He is safe. He could call 911, run home in terror, just burst into tears, just try to call the cops, like show them the video evidence that some supernatural shit was going down here. But no, like he's outside, notices one of his friends isn't with him, hears them scream, runs back right in. Guess what happens to him because of that? And Jesus, were these characters stupid. So I hated that. Oh my god, the plot holes in this movie. This script had just plot hole after plot hole. Number one being, what goddamn school would do a production, revive a production where a kid tragically lost his life in? No school would. Like, they even try to weakly justify at one point, like, there's a quick throwaway line in which, like, one the teacher just says, oh yeah, we really had to argue with the school board to allow us to do this. Like, no, the school board would say, F you for trying to disrespect this kid's memory. That was a tragic loss, and you just want to disrespect it. You're horrible. You're horrible people. Like, really, I was in a like performance-based challenge thing called Destination Imagination. There was a group that had a 9/11 skit. This is over 10 years after it happened. People still cried bloody murdered at these kids, like when they did their skit, like because they just thought this is tasteless for the fact you're doing this. And oh my god, like it was. No school would ever allow that to happen. The fact that the stage prop of the gallows, the fact that it actually works as like you could actually hang someone off of them, I looked, I was like, what? Well, didn't anyone like realize that could be a bad idea? Like something bad could happen if you don't have a safety like mechanism or something like that. Like you don't have like another wooden platform underneath like the main one, so just in case like something goes wrong, like the actor can just like stand on the like a second wooden platform and be fine. Like no, like it's actually a perfectly functioning gallows. And that was, who the hell did that? And I don't understand what the stage prop malfunction was, because essentially all that happened, what happens is the floor gives out, the kid falls through and like gets hung by the noose. And Molly thought, like, my guess is that had to be part of the show. So, what went wrong there exactly? My guess, like, was he not supposed to be hung in the show? Is that all what's supposed to happen? I don't get it. Yeah, so I really don't get what the prop malfunction was supposed to be. That was supposed to be the freak accident that killed this kid. And then in the present day, when you must imagine they've remade this gallows set, it still does not have a safety mechanism. Don't you think any of them will be like, oh shit, like, oh god, the last time we did this, a kid tragically died. Let's make sure there's a safety backup in case the same issues happen. No. Just do the same exact thing the first time. Hope nothing goes wrong this time. God, jeez. Another huge plot hole is, like, in the opening of the movie, like the douchey kid with the camera, like, he's just going around, you just see all these parents, like, I must imagine where they're like to pick up their kids from rehearsals, and like there's like this really creepy woman there, like she looks like a freaking witch demon, like possessed witch demon. And like even like the kid says like nobody knows who this person is, like who is this person? And my only thought is no. Let me tell you, especially in this day and age, it's like considering how many horrible, like unbelievably like disturbing, like just like unbelievable waste of human life, like horrible events that happen at schools, like of just random like strangers coming in and just causing horrible deeds. When you go to a school nowadays, you need to check in with the office. You need to get permission to be there. You can't just walk in and just sit down. You can't do that. You will have the cops called on you if you do that. And so it makes no sense how no one would know who this woman is. It's bullshit. There's no other way to say it. It's freaking bullshit. That and this movie, the horror aspect of this movie is nothing but jump scares. Nothing but the goddamn jump scares I hate so much. And it's even worse than Insidious Chapter 3, because at least in Insidious Chapter 3, when it was a jump scare because there was a freaking demon. There was a demon. They were horrified and jump scared by a demon, okay. That's more acceptable than this when it's the worst type, which is a jump scare of nothing. It will just be just like someone just like jumping in front of the camera, like not like the ghost team, just some random, just a kid pulling a prank would just do that. Like that is the worst type of jump scare. I hate it. It is just awful. I hate it. And you could see them coming from a mile away. Like I said, you were not afraid. At least with Insidious Chapter 3, there were a few jump scares that, even though they annoyed me, I will admit, they somewhat caught me off guard. Like, I did not think there would be a jump scare there. Like, this movie, though, you could see them all coming from a mile away. You weren't afraid of what was on screen. You were afraid of that goddamn orchestra sting. I hate that. I hate that. And, but after all said and done, I was gonna admit, this movie, it's not the worst thing ever. I'd say it was below average. Like, I had to stay out of my house for an hour and a half. This killed an hour and a half for me. So I was gonna be like, 4 out of 10, below average. Just don't see it. It's nothing that special. But then no. Then it got worse. We hit the ending to this movie. Anyone who has seen or read a review on this, you must have heard how there is two plot twists at the end of this movie. There's two plot twists, and they are so fucking stupid. They make no sense. Like, you're just literally just like, when it happens, your only thought will be like, what is the goal here? What was this demon's thing's goal if that was all they were trying to do? I don't get it. What was the goal in all this? Like, it makes no sense. They're bullshit. Like, they're pulled right out of the writers' asses. Like, oh god. And, like, the fact that these characters, like, would not know these things. Oh, well, fine. I'm talking about the two major plot twists at the end. Another big twister reveal is supposed to be that, like, one of the four kids, like, his dad, like, called in sick. It was in the original production of the Gallows, and he called in sick, and then the kid Charlie got his part because he was his understudy, and he ended up dying, and, this kid's like, how did that kid not know that? This is supposed to be a small town. How would you not know that your dad was so connected to that show? But, like, no, like, the major two plot twists in this movie make no sense. It's awful, and it's one of those. I'm going to say what it is, but let me like get an example. Like, imagine at the end of Unfriended, like, after, like, all the other friends are dead, there's only Blair, and then it turns out in a plot twist, Blair was in cahoots with the demon. Let's just say it's something along those levels. Makes no sense. It doesn't add up to anything. It was clearly just these writers thinking they were so much smarter than they actually are, and they aren't. This is just not. They were not smart or clever. They were just stupid. And, oh god. And that's really gonna say. Side notes for this movie. I think It Follows has gone on rental recently, if I'm not mistaken. Go rent that instead of seeing this. The more I think about it, I was too hard on It Follows when I first reviewed that. I'm changing my score to a 4 out of 5 on that movie. That was a great horror movie. This horror movie kind of woke me up for how stupid horror movies could be. Like, maybe it was just like there was too much of a stream of good horror movies for a while with like things like The Babadook, It Follows, Unfriended, like. And it kind of like just like skewed my mind a bit. No, it's movies like this that really awoke me for how bad horror movies could be. So, yeah, for a final rating, like I said, I was looking at this movie a 2 out of 5 originally, but those two twists at the ending knocked this an entire point down. The final score is a 1.5 out of 5. Do not see this movie unless, I don't know, maybe if it's on Netflix streaming, it's 1 in the morning, you just want some shit in the background, like, you're doing some work, and you just want something stupid in the background you don't have to pay attention to, then I guess. But this is a bad movie. There's no reason to see this. YouTube, as always, please subscribe, and I will see you next time. Okay, bye.